Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. You know, we've made things so complicated as a people. We've made it complicated so that it would not be easily understood, so that you, the people, would be easier confused, that others might profit at this confusion. That's the way it is. And even when it comes down to you getting information about the Spirit and about God and about materialism and about human beings, yet it really should be simple enough, the message behind it, that a child could understand. But if a child isn't given the information, child will not know. And a child grows up without the information, the more difficult it is for a child to accept any information that comes from something that seems to be so simple. And yet it is simple. So what I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, is this. When we talk about God and heaven and earth and hell and all that kind of stuff, and we talk about the Bible and what the Bible means and all that kind of stuff, we know it is confusing. That's why we have so many different denominations. However, you should be able to receive a message from God that would make it simpler for you to understand. And so I'm going to do that for you so that you can understand. Heaven and hell are opposites. When we think of heaven or the Garden of Eden or the place that's most blessed, we think of it as being someplace else. And we think of hell as being, really, we want to think of it as being someplace else as well. But the truth of the matter is, we can relate to evidence that we're living in hell right now. And so what I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is this, is that heaven represents spirit. Hell represents material. Heaven represents spirit. Hell represents material. Now, here is the difference in the way it operates. When we see the material, it's really a copy of what happens in heaven. Those of you who have heard that heaven was a place where you walk around singing songs and praising God and living off milk and honey, this is messages that comes from people who don't know anything about God. And basically that's what the people have accepted, or something close to it. However, I'm giving you something I hope is something that you perhaps can perceive. So heaven and earth, they are really duplicates of one of the other. But in order to live in heaven, in the spirit realm of heaven, there are criteria. You see, in heaven, you still have you have requirements for existence. You don't just exist. You have requirements for existing in heaven. Many of you have heard a story about Lucifer being in heaven. And Lucifer exercised choice to say that just living heavenly was not good enough. Lucifer decided that he wanted to experience beyond all of the heaven that everybody else in heaven or everything else, all the angels else in heaven received. He wanted to receive that of the Creator. And so what he decided to do was to try to sell it, to sell that to the angels. And he got a whole bunch of them to go along with it. But what happened? Walking a different path than that which allows heaven to exist exercises you from it. and so that they were no longer with it. Same thing happened with Adam and Eve in the garden, just like the angels. They had choice, and they ended up making the choice that a different decision other than that which maintained the status quo would be appropriate. And all of that happens. But the bottom line is this: to live in spirit, you must walk according to the laws of the spirit. You must be loving. You must want peace. You must want prosperity for everybody. You must want joy in your life. All things that are common amongst everyone for survival is guaranteed by each other, that these things will be extended to everyone. And everybody is willing to put their hands to the plow to guarantee that each of these things are met. There is no homelessness. There is nobody that's hungry. There is nobody that is lacking any access to education or anything to health care. There is no one with nothing to do. Everybody got something to do. And everything that they do complements and supplements whatever everybody else is doing. And as a benefit, they experience the heaven. And the main thing about it is that they're there because they want to be there. They have made and exercised their choice. They want to treat people right, and they want to be treated right. And they will accept nothing less than. And this is why they're there. Now, the material world is different. The material world says, no, that's a bunch of garbage. Why live like that when you can live better than that? Now, how do you live better than that? You live better than that by making somebody else live less than that. And how do you do that? By taking from them that which allows everybody else to be equal in their living. When I say equal, I'm talking about having the satisfaction that they themselves desire. It has nothing to do with how much you got and how much I got. It's we all satisfied. And so what happens is this: you have to find a God. Now, the ones who said, I am better than somebody else who wants to be God. But they can't get that over to you like that, because you can say the same thing. You want to be God. So what they have to do is to get something else to manipulate you. And what do they get? They get the tool of money. And they put the spirit of "in God we trust" on that money. And with that money, they say that anything that you want, anything that you need, anything that you desire, with the right amount of money, you can get it. That's what they say. And they say the amount of money that you get depends upon what you do to get the money. And the powers that be behind the money know exactly what they want done. And so they set it up to determine who gets that money based upon who will be doing what they really want done. And so you have people that are really rich, super rich. You got people who are not super rich but rich. You got people who are well making it. People making from paycheck to paycheck. You got poverty, and you got all the crime and violence that come from it, including all of the crime and violence that comes from everything above the poverty levels. Sometimes you want to call it white collar. Nevertheless, it's crime. It's the ugliness, but it's the way of selfishness. It's the way of men. It's the way of those who say that their ideas are better than God's, better than the Creator's. And so, this is what we have in the beginning of mankind on earth, and it is deteriorated to its worst form here today. Now, there have always been wars, and there's always been more than just rumors of war. There have been slaughters of people all over the earth, everywhere. People have been murdered and slaughtered by this would-be God. Now, the difference is understanding. Let's understand this. When Lucifer and those angels were released from heaven, they died. That means that they were no more heavenly. They were separated from it. Same thing happened to Adam and Eve. They died. That meant they were no more paradisely, Garden of Edenly. They were separated from it. And all of us who have come into the world as fruit of their seed, who have been taught all of whatever they lacked, and as time grew and other real truths were denied and forgotten and lies became the order of the day, we have become a product of all of that, to the extent that right now the world is falling apart. In the United States of America, one of the last bastions of hope have come to the point where now they have been so divided and lied to and accepting these lies and abused till they have accepted one who has been labeled as possibly Lucifer himself. Now, I'm not saying this about the president-elect. I'm saying this is what has been said about the president-elect by those who know him well, by those who've had associations with him, and by expressions that have come out of his own mouth. And the fact that he finds that it is expedient to follow script, that you are just that easily deceived into thinking now that he's a great man based upon a week of following the script. Well, that is the way of the world. That is the materialism of reality. To separate yourself from it, if you think it's disgusting, is to know what is better. And to know what is better means to practice what is better, to lift it up like a big old sun coming on in the middle of the night and the whole world begins to see. You stand up for what is right. That's what you do when you know the truth. You don't nobody have to tell you. You stand up for what is right when you know the truth. And that takes you off of that path that you got billions of folks on, claiming they know the truth, claiming they're into their own road to paradise or heaven or whatever they want to call it. You leave that alone and you become over here. And you shine as you look. Don't think that your shining is going to make people who have been led in the dark all their lives, people who are blind as can be, don't think this is going to make them immediately see. It will not. But will it cause you to close your eyes and pretend that you are once again blind and walk to the dictates? Or will you allow the light to shine, knowing that the path that you're on is a graduation path? It is a path where the materialism, all that it represents, looks at you and see you as a threat, see you as breaking order, and say that you got to go. And they open that door and allow you to transcend out of this hell into the paradise in which you have put your hands to creating yourself. And this is what's key, ladies and gentlemen. You walk into the spirit, and it's like you've been there all the time. Everybody knows you, and you know everybody. And whatever you're doing fits right in with what it's supposed to be doing. And over here, you have no knowledge of it whatsoever. No knowledge of it whatsoever. But also over here, they might be burying your body. This is to frighten everybody else, to stay in line, because nobody knows that you're in paradise. All they see is your body. They don't know That's because you don't know the truth. And you are still in bondage absent that truth. So I want you to know this: heaven and earth are representations of what is essential in life. One way does it so that everybody is blessed as a family. Another way is that chosen ones are blessed. One is causing pain, another is causing love. But each one have choice. And each choice that is made that is different than that which maintains where you're at will get you out of there. So those of you who think you want to go to heaven, those of you who think you're saved, then you start doing good and you'll get there. But if you're not standing up for what's right, if your sun is not shining, if your little light that you claim is yours is not shining, you are part of the problem. You are a part of the problem. Bye-bye.